Wooly, have you ever, this is a rhetorical fake question, by the way. Have you ever heard of a story about a delinquent older man who, through a various series of hijinks, ends up becoming he's walking away. Ends up becoming a teacher at a local high school?
I sure have heard of Great Teacher Onizuka.
Well, I've been playing Lost Judgment, and what I initially thought was a superficial similarity became like overt homage very quickly. Thank you for the dog treat.
Does he start by peeking up the skirts of his 16-year-old students?
Holy shit. I didn't even put it together. The answer is kind of.
What?
The answer is actually kind of.
Wait, what?
Let me break it down. I can't believe it. So, the impetus for the reason why you are going to... This is chapter 1 or 2 in Judgment. The reason why you are going to the school in Lost Judgment at all is because the local principal wants to find out if there is a bullying epidemic at the school.
I recall, yes.
Therefore, you are walking around and you discover that the best idea you guys have is to just plant hidden cameras all over the school to surreptitiously monitor the students, including the boys' bathroom. And near the end of your camera placement, you put it at the middle point of some stairs. And Amasawa, the head of the Mystery Research Club, looks at you and goes, "This motherfucker's putting cameras out here to look up our skirts. That dude's a pedo. Get him." And you have to run away from guards and the gym teacher and escape.
My god. Okay. Because, well, at least it's a misunderstanding as opposed to literally the opening sequence of the story.
Yeah. As I went through it, the moment that it fully clicked in my mind that it was GTO was not beating up the same group of students to hell and death 5 times in one day only for them to be fine. Or that it was when I discovered the smart girl who had quit school because she was too smart and had been shunned by her classmates.
Oh,
Begrudgingly
really?
Came back to school to read all the mystery novels, and the only club I could convince her to get into was the robotics club. And I'm like, oh man, this is just like when Onizuka made
Kanzaki.
What's her name? Kanzaki?
Kanzaki.
Or the blonde,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, Kanzaki.
Hang out with the Gundam nerds on the island. And I was like,
wow,
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking direct.
So I originally started my streams going, let's do everything in Judgment. And after 3-4 days of that, I'm like, we're not going to be doing everything in Judgment. We're going to be doing just the main storyline only. Because the Yakuza series, I'm calling them RGG now because there's Black Panther and Kenzan and Yakuza and Judgment, and it's like the Soulsborne situation, but like there's too many spin-offs. It's become actually complicated and confusing.
Ryuga GTOku. That's pretty good.
So they've always had like a lot of extra content.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've always had like a kind of insane amount of extra content. This one has the most insane amount of extra content that it's ever had. And it is and a huge amount of it is put into the school stories like side quest chain,
Okay.
which is you become an advisor at the school because delinquency is up and there's a ne'er-do-well and there's a secret plot and there's a mastermind, yada 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 yada. But it is basically an excuse to go down to various clubs and ingratiate yourself
So
and have that storyline go through.
so I'm good. Like, is there a school festival planning mini game that replaces the landlord like collecting shit?
No. What? So I have not even unlocked. So I last played the game on stream on Friday. I have played the game for multiple hours a day, every single. No, I played the game for about maybe 15 hours, more than I have on stream with just the school stuff, and I'm not even halfway through it. There is legitimately a full extra Yakuza game just made out of this school section.
Oh my god.
So far, I have learned that the dance club has a sugar baby that is scamming older patrons, and we're worried she might get murdered. So I gotta go teach the dance club and get them to regionals in order to find out about the sugar baby. The robotics club is doing Robot Wars shit at a regional tournament, but they're also suspected of using like a Boston Dynamics like dog bot thing to rob people on the street, and I gotta get to the bottom of that.
Okay.
The skateboarding club is having a graffiti tag war, and I have to do sick Tony Hawk tricks in order to get them to trust me. I have recently found out that there are students patronizing an underground casino that I will have to infiltrate. I can't even remember. There's a boxing gym because one of the students is theorized to have become the payback boxer in town, and I have to infiltrate this boxing gym for criminals. And then I went in and thought it was going to be using the regular combat system. It's not. It uses its own boxing game that's completely new and really good.
Wow. And the school is not the whole game?
No! It's completely optional!
What the fuck?
And I just found out that some of the kids have gotten into a biker gang. And the way they're describing it is that they're a biker gang that is going through the streets doing crazy tricks, and there's no rules between the racers. You can even hit your fellow racers in the middle of the race. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a Road Rash clone once I load it up. But there's nothing that has competed with the absolute genius and production design and joy of going down to the fucking esports club. Because you go to the esports club because the head of it has been accused of cheating, and beating was essentially Daigo with no prior practice. So you walk into the esports club and go, hey kids, what's up? And a guy walks up to you and says, what the fuck do you know about Virtua Fighter? And Yagami goes, that's where the dude says you're 10 years too early, huh? And they go, check out this old man. Well, we're practicing for a final showdown tournament.
Oh, wow.
So you need to fucking get good. And the mini games associated with are beat the dudes in final showdown matches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the esports club president looks like Sekita Sanshiro, and his voice actor is doing a Sonic the Hedgehog impression.
Wait, like the president that's a student?
Yes, the president of the esports club.
Looks like Sekita Sanshiro.
Looks like Sekita Sanshiro. I will... It is... a Lost Judgment esports. I'll grab a... it is like it is. It was because there was the topic about like a little while ago, like, oh, Kratos is reusing this fucking boat animation,
Yeah,
and people
sure.
were butthurt on Twitter about it, and it was just this thing of like, this is so stupid and so absurd. Like, who gives a shit? And then I'm playing Lost Judgment, in which I discover that's like, these guys are reusing every part of the Buffalo, like every single asset or mechanic or clip or animation is just held on to for the absolute maximum length of time possible to be reused and put into something new. There are animations that I was able to point out on stream that have been around since 2004, like the pouting animation and the people like clenching their fists in front of them, that have literally never changed.
The
in
conversation
the
animations, you mean?
Yeah.
Like the side
Like
quest stuff.
people throwing their right fist down and their right leg swings around and their head bows to the left as they pout and stomp and all that shit. And it's like, why? Why make a new one? It's still good. It's still there. It's fine. It's completely fine. And I've been doing all of this, and I've been talking about it, and people routinely ask, well, every time I talk about it on social media, isn't there a murder to solve? Who cares? Like, who cares? These kids need to learn that even if you were an art prodigy and you got a hand injury, that's no reason to give up. And I'm going to teach you that by hitting sick 900s.
Are you even a detective / like lawyer guy anymore?
So, I mean, we've talked at length, and we talked even last week about like the tonal dissonance of this series is the absolute maximum. It goes from like Looney Tunes cartoon shit to high-end melodrama, like serious crime shit. I feel like this one is the farthest they've ever been apart, in which I would describe it not even as melodrama, but as like hyper drama.
Okay.
And the cartoon shit is like a different universe entirely.
Okay.
I was walking around and discovered a detective dog that just walked up to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
And one of my coworkers said, "Oh, this is the famous crime-solving dog of Ijincho.
Got it.
He just wanders around and solves mysteries."
Okay.
Only for me to instantly get a text from the head of the mystery research club going, "Have you seen my dog? He likes to sneak out of the house and solve mysteries."
So, I have a question. Since
before you go on, in the same session that happened, we saw the most graphic on-screen murder that's ever been in the series, as well as interviewed the victim of of sexual assault on a subway groping, and went into graphic detail in total sincerity. These things were 1/2 hour apart.
And that was the serious part of the game.
Yes.
Okay.
And a rooftop discussion about bullying that was like legitimately tear-jerking. Like, it's as far apart as they've ever been.
Okay, so since Yakuza 7 clearly is going, it's the full RPG system and all that stuff, and this is now the series that keeps the action. Have they built upon the action stuff and like?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a huge improvement from the first game. The first game had some balance problems, particularly it had 2 styles, but one of the styles was terrible.
Okay.
So there was 1 styles. Now there are 3, and they're all a lot more viable. And it's the typical RGG thing of you kept about half of the moves you earned in the last game as default abilities.
Okay.
Which I'm interested in seeing how they do that with Ichiban. Like, are you going to start those games with like 6 classes available.
I mean, if it's an RPG and your experience always starts, at a low level, then yeah, you don't have to carry over that much. You just earn it back again. And the other thing I'm wondering is, like, do they take the same... Well, I mean, 7 is so clearly backed by a crazy budget, down to the fact that, like, the voice acting, you know what I mean, is like George Takei and shit like that. Like,
Voice acting in Judgment 2 is not... It doesn't have the budget, but it's similarly fantastic. I'm using the dub again.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. I'm not going to play them in subtitled anymore.
Is there any bread biting?
No.
Okay.
But at the same point in Judgment 2 where you would have gotten the bread bite, they go for super, super high-end maggot tech.
Oh.
Like highly, highly detailed corpse maggotry.
Okay. Feel the corpse.
Yeah.
That's a super dead body. Yeah, okay. Got it.
What's interesting is that, like, Lost Judgment's plot, and this is, like, outside the game, like, you're looking at it, and you're like, it's a shame that Yagami is going to be hit by a car and die 30 seconds after the end of the credits of this game. I wonder which one of these characters will become the new main character.
And the car needs to drive off into the night, and the only thing you see is a license plate that says SMAP.
Yeah. Alternative, like I would love for them to turn in on it and have the third game be about the murder of the character Yagami. Like, I think that would be a great way to handle it.
Could be interesting. Yeah, could be. Huh. Okay.
His face was totally destroyed. Game is A+, excellent. Game is incredible. I love it. There's only one problem I found with the game. Only one. The Robot Club is the worst minigame they've ever put in the series. It is atrocious.
You said it was Super Robot Wars, like, or not Super Robot.
Yep.
Okay, not Super Robot Wars, as in like Super Robot Wars.
Like you're thinking of Robot Wars.
Robot Wars, yes, yeah. Exactly.
It's the worst. It's incredibly terrible, and the problem is that the default actual action, it's about area denial. You're running over to get Tetris blocks to put them on the board, and you're fighting dudes in order to stop them from getting your Tetris blocks. The problem is that there's a shit ton of mandatory fights, and the enemies are always more upgraded than you, and you have to grind materials to upgrade your thing. It's roughly equivalent to like Pocket Racer, except way less fun than even Pocket Racer.
I fucking love Pocket Racer.
Yeah, and super grindy, and they constantly surface these materials that you can't buy. And it includes the only game's soft lock that I can find. Where, warning to anybody playing Lost Judgment, if you get to Chapter 6 and there's an objective called Kill Some Time, don't go do the Robot Club, because if you get to the story event where you go eat ramen, it will lock you in as well as your autosave. And you will not be able to escape. And it can soft lock and kill your fucking save file.
I mean, I've Zero. I was running into wild item bugs on nonsense, like just playing the game normally. So
I think that's limited to the PC version, but that's not all that surprising considering the lack of experience they have with PC development.
Okay. Well, that is interesting, and I guess it's like, yeah, like the franchise, even though all that Johnny shit has happened, like the split between full RPG and full action is a smart thing, and they can sell 2 of these games on a regular basis if they have the teams for it. So I feel like Sega's gonna want to figure out some solution to keeping a secondary franchise going. You know,
I finally managed to scrub through a YouTube video, and I have gotten a screenshot of the esports president's head for you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's young Fujioka. Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, I see it. No, I see it. The eyebrows are there. Got it. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.